Hello and welcome to my studio. Dan Duncan here, and we're gonna do attempt to do a short tutorial of a bumblebee. And I googled bumblebees, and I found this picture that I really like of this cute little guy on a flower, a daisy of some sort. It has a violet hues to it, so on the petals. So let's see if we can duplicate that. Here's the colors that I'm going to use. Put them in the palette anyways. I got primary yellow, violet, phthalo blue, white, burnt umber, raw sienna, burnt sienna, and black. And let's see what we can do with these colors. What I've done too, because we're working with acrylics, and they dry up pretty quick, so they have this blending gel. My nephew got me a little bottle of this. It works really good. You just put one little drop and then stir it and mix it with a little stick or something at the end of your brush, and it'll keep this paint nice and smooth for hours. I've actually went to work and came home and it was still usable, so that helps out a lot. It's like $2 for a little bottle. Alright, let's take this rock here. It looks like a good one. And what I do is I use some modeling clay to keep my rock steady. Now, this video might be a little bumpy because I'm on an old, where I paint my rocks at is an old kind of antique table. It's got a leaf on it here that drops, and I kind of sometimes I lean on it and might bump, but hopefully this video helps you out. It's a perfect day to paint. Here where I'm at, it's 10 degrees outside, so we're gonna stay in here and keep warm. Alright, we're gonna start out with the big brush. Let's make a green color for the background. We're gonna work just like with most of my art, or all of my art pretty much. I work from the back and work your way towards you. Everything in the distance I try to paint first and then work your way up. So to make a green, we're gonna take our yellow and blue, add a little weight to it and lighten it up. Let's just paint the background, everything behind the flower. Clean the brush. That should dry quick enough for us to get started on the petals. I'm just going to do a heavy silhouette of the petals in solid white, and we're going to come back and touch them with some violet. Green is coming through there, but we'll hit it again. Kind of just gets blurry in the background behind the bee. Bee is going to go right about here. Alright, now what I want to do is get a touch of that violet. Brush it on. Let's clean our brush and get a nice blob of solid white. Wait a minute, let's see. Yeah. And let's just go around the outer edges here to try to define the area where the center of the flower is. Maybe take some of that paint and just put a little bit more on the petals. And as this paint dries, we're going to go back and we'll add a little bit more to those petals, but we just want to keep going. We know that the bee is going to pretty much cover this whole area, so you don't have to bother doing anything up in here. Let's get a little of this burnt umber, put it in there. Like, whoa, that's dark. But we gotta create some darkness to make that light pop. You'll see as we go along. Okay, now clean the brush. All this paint's still wet because of that gel, but it blends good. Like I said, it'll dry as we paint. We'll go back and hit some spots. So let's see, we got about like that. And at this point, I know you're thinking, what in the world is this? The fun part is watching it develop. I just dipped my brush in some black, solid black. Let's make a black leg. And you just have to use a lot of this, a lot of painting is technique and using the brush to make it do what you want to do. This is by no means a tiny detail brush, but I'm going to do a tiny little bit of the leg down here that's on the petals by just lifting up the brush and trying to use the very edge of it, the tip of it. Just like that. I'm going to hit some solid black in here. By starting with that brown that we did, basically, with all those colors, it created a little bit lighter, so as we add solid black, it's going to start giving some depth to it and dimension, to have all them different shades and values. Alright, so now we're going to add some brightness to the center of the flower, and then by the time we're done with that, we'll go up onto the bee. Get some primary yellow and mix it with some white to get it opaque. Or we could go with just solid white and think of it like printer paper. Print that vibrant color on top of white paper, but this works just as good to go ahead and get a little color in there, and then we'll go back and hit it again later. So yellow and white mixed, we're going to highlight this flower and just visualize those I don't even know what they're called, but in the center of the flower, the little miniature petals, you know, sticking, protruding out. Just trying to duplicate that shape, just touching it with your brush, giving indications of what's going on down there. All right, let's take some of that and go right up on top of the bee's back here and start just lightly, like delicately tapping. To help create that fuzzy effect. Very relaxing stuff here, just, you know, tap, tap, tap. And we start to see it come to life. Clean your brush. Now let's go let that bee dry for a little bit, and let's go and bring in some green into the petals down here. If you can see that, looking through those petals into the background, we're gonna identify that. So let's get our smaller brush. I'm not sure, that doesn't have a size on it, but a little fine tip on there. Let's create a green, try to get that green color again down here with yellow and blue and a little bit of white. Let's go down here and do like a little oval shape. Little teardrop kind of shapes. Let's go up here and kind of add some and define these. Clean up those edges. Give a little more subtle round. This is kind of like showing you how you can make corrections. I mean, I did it on purpose because I know what you can go back and do, but I'm kind of teaching you that if you don't like the shape of something or the lines, you just go back and fix it. All right, clean the brush. Let's get some pure white. Let's touch the edges of these petals a little more. Kind of reinforce the shape, the proper shape of them. And to show the depth, because they have a concave aspect to them. We're going to try to indicate that. The high and low spots with light and dark. I'm going to bring some little white highlights inside of the center of the flower, because you can see there's some bright spots in there. Let's do a wing. I'm gonna take white and go right across. You can see there's some like highlight, whereas you know the wing has a shiny look to it. Let's kind of define where we're gonna put a wing at. I guess we'll go with a little bit heavier paint. Another wing on the top. I'm gonna go back and get some more black. We're gonna add to the bee up here in the top on its head. Do a little bit of light strokes to indicate the hair particles sticking out. He's got a big eyeball right here. Let's add that eyeball. There's an eyeball on the other side right there. One of his little antennas here and bring it down. The other side, we'll do one that's a little shorter, indicating that it's going down that way. Let's add a little more black in here. Create this other leg. Kind of lost our proportion according to the picture, but it's still work. It's gonna work. It's gonna be our bee. Just like Bob Ross used to say, it's your world, you're the creator. Create some fuzzy hair up on the top here. I'm going to take this violet. We're going to create a shadow of the bumblebee underneath him. Take some of that violet in the full strength. Now let's tone it down just a tad with a little bit of white. We'll see what that looks like. Right. Go right underneath him here and create a shadow. Because in the picture, some of his hairs hanging off of his tail are a bright color. The only way to show that is to create that darkness underneath. We're going to bring some of that into the wing because you can see that through the wing. Let me dip my brush in water a little bit and get it thinned down. Tone that with a touch more white. Lighten it up a little. And we'll carry this out underneath on each of these petals here to give a little bit of that dark shadow. And for his leg. Lighten this back up. If you go too much, you just simply lighten it back up. Wet my brush down. Just do like a light wash. Okay. I'm gonna lighten that up around the back side there. Went a little too much. Happy accident. There. Now, let's lighten up that yellow in the bumblebee a little more. We're going to bright yellow. primary yellow. Let's just put it right on and see what happens. I like it. We're going to add some dimension and depth to that with some raw burnt sienna. Just grab a little bit of burnt sienna and mix it right in with that yellow that we just did. Maybe a little more yellow. Alright, we're going to put this right around the edges of the yellow areas. And I'll show you how we'll go back and we'll define those hairs again with the black. And that'll really make this bee come to life. I'll put a little bit in the back side and put some of it in the wing. Alright, now let's take some of this raw sienna and add some of the primary yellow. And let's get a little bit of white and see what happens here. Let's lighten this up. Almost like a honey color. Winnie the Pooh. Let's put some of that right near. Just dab it in. Let's put some of that around in the flower too. A little around the tail. Let's lighten it up a little more with white. Building up the colors, giving a lot of depth and dimension here to this. All right, now let's get we're gonna make his eyeball come to life, jumping around. So let's get a little bit of just a touch, excuse me, just a touch of the tip of that brush and the phthalo blue. Let's get white. Lighten it up, just get a real nice light blue, because we're seeing the reflection of the sky on that eyeball. Let's just put a little bit in there, and it's important that we get that correct shape to kind of help make the eye look like it's round. A little bit of just a touch over on the other eye, just a little. We're getting tedious. let's do a little bit of that on the legs, because the legs are shiny. They got some reflection going on there. I'm gonna put a little bit on the wings back here. Alright, so now what I see on that eyeball is obviously the reflection of this flower. So I'm going to take a little bit of that violet, just put the tip of your brush in that violet, and let's put a little bit of violet down here. Let's lighten it up. A little bit of white. Now we're going to put this on the wing, however, it's a little darker, so we're going to add some blue into it to kind of almost go purple-ish. Well, you know what? I don't like the way that turned out. Let's add some of this burnt sienna in there. some violet. We're getting there. There. Get that kind of a, well, like a purple violet-ish. And we're gonna just paint the wing. Let's add a little white to that. I'll show you what we're doing here in a minute. Just darken this up, and then we'll come back in with highlights, which would be looking through that wing. Let's go back to a light, more of the violet color. Really lighten that up. Alright, and roll. What I do is I roll the excess off and I roll the brush to a point, so I have more control of the tip. We're just going to bring in some highlights here. And a little bit lighter than that. Let's add more white. Roll that brush. Alright, now I'll bring a little bit of that down here into the leg. Just touch a little bit of that in the leg, give some of that reflection of that violet onto the legs. Let's get this burnt umber. Roll the brush. And let's create the veins in the wings here. Use this color, go down here and create this leg, make it a little thicker. And now I'm going to take that color, mix white into it, really lighten that up to do this foot at the very, very bottom of his leg. And do a little bit over here. Okay. We're going to go back with white, just solid white, and let's highlight that leg again. Just put little highlights in there. It really makes that pop and come to life. And it's a little bit speckled looking. It's real random. Down here, I'm going to touch a little bit of white around this eyeball to really get it to pop a little more. And since we got our brush as it with white in it, as it dries and gets dry, let's just throw some little strokes in here in the fur or the hair. I don't know if you can call it fur on a bee. Nice highlight across that wing right there like that. Let's put a couple of little highlights in there. Okay. And then, like I was telling you, those bright hairs underneath, let's put some of those in down here like this. got some on it coming off the legs. Let's put some on the yellow areas because I'll show you what we're going to do there. So I'm coming off of this leg. Alright, now let's take some black. Let's get some black and put it here. Let's do some strokes like up and down to indicate the direction of hair. Really need to separate the bottom of this bee with the flower so they're not washed out together. Here's why we're going to do that. Put some black strokes up into there. Shadow under that foot. Let's get some straight up raw umber and let's put it down in these petals, these little inner flower petals. I gotta find out the name of them. Let's just throw some shadows back there to really separate that. Even from the petals, just put a little bit around the petals. I really hope some of you try this. May have already said that. Be nice to see. Let's take some of that and let's mix it with some of this raw sienna just to lighten it up a little bit. Let's put that into the fur here. There's that little indications of darker orange-ish spots. That gives more depth to the... Alright, now where I put this white hair, we're going to go in with bright yellow. Well, you know, I'm going to do the bright yellow and then just a touch of that mixture of raw sienna and burnt umber. Let's hit those white hairs that we created. Just wash right over top of them and help them pop a little bit, make them a little more yellow. And down here on the back, giving more dimension. I'm gonna put some solid white right at the very top of right in the center here of this fur. Just make it jagged looking to kind of mimic the shape of the fur. Let's put some over here and let's kind of brush it up in a rounded shape. Bring that in, and then we're going to put some down here. Then we're going to come in with some bright yellow. Let's do the same down here. Let's put a couple of bright yellow spots on this flower. Let that white kind of dry. It only takes a little bit when you're using little amounts like that. Let's bring bright yellow in there. Just touch it. Yeah, that kind of brightened that bee up a little. I'm gonna call this done, and I like it, and I'll put my initials on there.